All right, my worst pit story ever was, it didn't actually include me. I was on stage, we were playing, our lights were crazy, they were looking great, strobes were ripping all over the place, and all of a sudden we see just somebody drop to the floor, and apparently there was a seizure that was happening right in front of us, and it was due to our lights. So obviously we felt horrible, and the show was, you know, we shut it down for a little while, made sure she was all right. Hilariously enough, she came back at the end of the show, came back to the show, was jamming out, everything was cool, but for that first like 5 minutes, it was the worst feeling ever. So that was probably my worst pit story ever. My first pit story ever, man, it must have been a local show somewhere in Michigan. I was probably wearing incredibly tight girl jeans and a very, very deep V-neck. Clumsily two-stepping along to whatever was playing at the time. Could have been the Chiodos Bros. That was, of course, before they were Chiodos. You know, Michigan hometown love. Probably just looking like a fool in the pit somewhere. That was definitely my first that I can remember, you know, trying to two-step. My best pit story, I don't know if this is necessarily like the best or coolest, but I remember one time me and my buddy were watching 4 Years Strong, and we were pretty close up there, you know, we were getting into it. 4 Years Strong, aggressive, we were wearing tank tops, sweating, you know, everyone around us had a beard. I was probably like 16, so I definitely didn't. And I turn around and I see my buddy just get clocked by some guy, and his nose starts bleeding, and I didn't even think twice, and I just turned around and socked the guy right in the face, and then I got kicked out. And so that was probably, for some reason, that was my best pit story. So, yeah.
My best mosh pit experience was probably in the crowd for the Foo Fighters in Europe. It was just, you know, it's the Foo Fighters. It was amazing. It was such a good vibe. The first was at HF Festival in Washington, D.C. Just, you know, some guy threw me in. I was probably 12. It was scary. Worst, same one, because once I got in there, it was terrifying. Woo. Yo, what up? Best, first, and worst are all kind of the same. It was my first ever Warped Tour. I just chugged a beer in the parking lot. Some random beer some guy gave me. I was 14 years old. Rise Against was the first band, and my first mosh pit started forming around me, and I tried to get out of it, and then I got pushed in, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And as soon as I committed to it, I got elbowed right in the face, chipped my tooth. It's still there, still chipped. That was probably the worst one too. It was one of them, I was like spitting out blood and tooth all over the place, and it was pretty badass. So it's my best, first, and worst all in one. Boom.
Boom. Best, I would have to say mosh pit for a story so far at Chainfest in Anaheim, somewhere around there. That was my best one, I think. So many people just going around in circles and everything. It's fucking sick. Worst one, I would have to say that one might have been the worst one too, because I ate it really fucking bad. There was two circle pits going at the same time, but they're going opposite directions. So I actually got pushed into the other pit, and I went straight on with some huge dude. And although I have scars somewhere on me to prove it, that was the worst one, but it was the best too. First I have to be a local show, a local ska show. Not much of a mosh pit, but skank pit. That was my first one. Been hooked ever since.
Hey, Nick, first, best and worst. Oh my god. First was a local punk show where I grew up, and it was great. I think it was for a band, False Crack. They were great. The pit was great. It was just a great experience. Best was probably the Chariot, R.I.P. Long live. Best pit I've ever been in. Best show I've ever been to. It's indescribable. Literally, words can't describe that pit. And worst, at an August Burns Red show at the House of Blues, Anaheim, I think. I knew there was a breakdown coming. I'm like, fuck hardcore dancing. And I'm like, okay, I need to get out. And I got out, someone just pushed me right in. Right at the same moment, there was someone just like roundhouse kicked me right in the stomach.
Yes!
And I spat out blood for about a week.
You were internally bleeding?
Yeah.
Sick!
Yeah.
It's not.
It hurt. It's not great, but it hurt. But it was a great experience.
But
Pretty
it's
cool.
memory.
But that's the worst.
Pretty sick.
Woo!